In our lifetimes, we all want to have enough of two key things, money and happiness. However, it's well known that money cannot buy happiness. Or can it? Using scientific literature as primary sources, Happy Money outlines 5 key principles that can help you spend smartly and become happier. While money cannot directly buy happiness, as it doesn't exist in any tangible shape or form, the statement that money cannot buy happiness itself hasn't been proven to be true. On the contrary, it is possible to exchange cash for a dose of happiness. This book outlines how you can accomplish this. Being twice as wealthy does not make you twice as happy. Rather, earning more money can only make you a bit happier, and even that only remains true up to a point. While money can buy a lot of creature comforts, thinking about wealth can promote us to act in ways that actually make us unhappy. Why don't we use what we have to buy ourselves as much happiness as we can? At first glance, you might be inclined to think that the book is trying to get you to spend more money as a means to be happier. This isn't true. The book does not suggest that you can buy happiness by spending more. Instead, there are rules you can follow that will aid you in making choices on how to spend your money in a way that makes you happier. Finance books tend to teach you how to earn and invest money based on research and facts. The authors do the same, using behavioral science to outline how you can change the way you spend money and the focus of your purchase to reap more happiness from the transaction. They suggest that we shouldn't follow our own instincts when it comes to spending money because as our hunches are fallible, we will more likely make ourselves miserable. With the results of various studies, we can see just how some small changes can buy us happiness, even if it costs just $1. Some of the biggest purchases we will make in our lives are the same things that success and happiness are measured. Buying items only packs a happiness punch for a little while. The item, along with that joyful feeling that comes when you first purchased it, often fades quickly. It disappears even faster if you find something else you want to buy that's nice and interesting. If you change your spending focus on buying experiences, you can make the happiness last. This is because buying experience can help you make connections, whether it's with others or yourself. This is because experiences, unlike things, aren't always easy compared to one another. This quality of escaping comparison makes it harder to regret an experience, even if there were ups and downs involved. Many purchases can be items, but also provide an experience. Art and media are relevant examples. You will be happier with your purchase if you can think of it as something you experience rather than just possess. What makes life survivable is our ability to adapt. The way humans can get used to and overcome difficult situations has made it easy for us to go through both the good and bad times. Unfortunately, this makes it so that even the things we love can become bland and boring in due time. That is, of course, unless we take it upon ourselves to make things a treat. This can be done by spacing out the things that we love so that we aren't always capable of having it. The sweet things in life, such as eating chocolate or going to a concert, should be rationed out to prevent the enjoyment we reap from them from decreasing. It is only too easy to get used to the things that money can buy us, like good food and novel experiences. But not being able to enjoy the small things in life, even if they aren't so small in comparison, means that the money we have can actually make us sadder and not happier. Some companies try to make their products scarce by putting a limit on them. This succeeds in boosting sales because the product's rarity increases people's enjoyment of them. By changing the way we consume, we can help to keep things fresh and keep ourselves happy. By giving ourselves a time limit to enjoy something or taking a break from something we love, we can keep them as special and prevent them from becoming mundane. The treat doesn't have to be big, but just big enough and just uncommon enough to give our mood a boost. Due to the perceived value of money, we're inclined to waste time in order to get the best deal that we can. If you've checked out the prices of a specific purchase at various stores, perhaps all located very far from each other, you know what I mean. However, we forget that time is as valuable, if not more valuable than money. Sometimes, it just isn't worth it to worry about the small price difference if it's going to take up a lot of your time. There are some aspects of our lives that we can change in order to buy time. Purchases that are worth their prices are ones that will change the way you use your time in the future, either by giving you more of it or more opportunities to do things that will make you happy. Some examples include getting a Roomba or a dog who will play with you and encourage you to go on walks on your day. It also separates you from parts of your life that will bring you more happiness, such as your friends and family. Financially speaking, it might be more prudent to postpone paying for something as much as possible. This is because the money can be used for stuff like investments first. It also prevents wastage, as the sunk cost means that you will be more inclined to stop your purchase from going to waste. The pain of paying money but not using the item it paid for can feel almost physical. When it comes to happiness, though, paying now and enjoying later can be very good for you. When you buy something but have to wait to get it, you have time to anticipate what it's like when the item arrives. Making yourself wait can maximize the enjoyment that you get out of something, especially if it's temporary. At the same time, paying first and obtaining the payoff later can make a purchase seem free, even if you know very well that you've already paid for it. Research shows that you are more likely to give yourself a treat if it occurs sometime in the near future and not immediately. Therefore, you can help to make your purchases more joy-inducing by making yourself wait. You might have found it easier to spend money on someone else than it is to spend on yourself. This isn't something that's unique to you. While it isn't something that can be done too often, it is proven that it can help to make you happy. Sharing might not always be perceived as an enjoyable act, but it's in our human nature to become happy when we do so. It isn't hard to promote giving to others. If you present it as a choice, let the experience be shared so that human connections can occur. This way we can prove the impact of the act of giving, and investing in others can come easily. The amount that you give isn't particularly important. Even a small amount can offer you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. At the same time, you don't have to spend cash money either. Dedicating your time or effort in others can also help you feel better, and even like you have more time than others. Our happiness tends to be framed as something that we ourselves are responsible for. However, like handling tax money and influencing us on how to spend our money, governments are capable of making policies that will improve our happiness, and not just by increasing our standards of living. Although, that itself is a great way to make sure people have money to spend to make ourselves happier. The way governments control subsidies and levy taxes can affect the value and priority we put in our purchases. From sweet drinks to property, this remains true. Governments also give support to cultural and natural establishments, giving people the chance to have more interesting and novel experiences in their lives. The way governments control public holidays can also determine how much time we have to spend, along with how much money. Infrastructure can also affect our happiness, as it can cut down time spent stuck in traffic and how much we spend on petrol. By giving tax breaks, governments can also promote the spirit of giving. Alternatively, governments can also let people choose what their tax dollars are paying for. All in all, happiness is another aspect of life that governments are capable of helping to shape. After all, a happy population can also increase production, as well as make sure the government officials involved are re-elected. The pursuit of happiness is no easy feat. It is not something that can be accomplished once and for all. It is more of a journey than a task to tick off. However, when you're intentionally trying to make life happier, you can easily overthink and stress yourself out instead. After all, following rules isn't exactly the epitome of fun. At the same time, human nature is funny. There are no hard and fast rules for anything. Even with scientific research, you can't find an answer that is 100% true. There is always a margin of error, along with at least a couple of outliers. The principles as outlined in this book teach you how to change the way you spend money so that you can buy happiness. But these methods may not work for you, even if you can consistently keep at them. Nevertheless, these 5 simple principles, buy experiences, make it a treat, buy time, delay. In the second book, we find Harry Potter embarking on his second year at Hogwarts after a miserable summer holiday with his relatives, the Dursleys. Strange events start occurring at Hogwarts. Students are petrified. Harry discovers he has a talent in common with the darkest wizard of all time, and teachers are not whom they appear to be. Ginny is the youngest and only girl of the Weasley family. Typical of the family, she has freckles and long red hair and a mischievous air about her. Ginny has an enormous crush on Harry, which causes a great amount of embarrassment for her. Also for him when she sends him a singing valentine. Ginny finds the enchanted, cursed diary of Tom Riddle mixed in with her school supplies and begins writing all her thoughts, dreams, and fears into the diary. The diary responds and she trusts the diary and begins unknowingly pouring her soul into it, which gives the ghost of Tom Riddle more power. Ginny ends up being possessed by Tom Riddle and releases the Basilisk while being controlled by Tom Riddle through the diary. Harry and Ron save her when a message is left that she has been taken into the Chamber of Secrets. Dobby is a small creature the size of a 5-year-old child. He has huge bat-like ears and a long thin nose and huge eyes. He wears a filthy tea towel tied like a toga. House elves exist as servants to wizard families. Dobby works for the Malfoys and is treated horribly. He risks his life to save Harry from the evil plans unfolding at Hogwarts and nearly kills Harry in the process. First, Dobby causes a dessert to explode to get Harry expelled from Hogwarts. When that doesn't work, he closes off the train gate at 9¾ causing the boys to find an alternate method of getting to school. Dobby bewitches a bludger during a Quidditch match and it breaks Harry's arm. He does all of this to get Harry sent away from Hogwarts and avoid being killed by Slytherin's heir. By the end, it is Harry who saves Dobby by manipulating Lucius Malfoy into giving Dobby a dirty sock. Giving clothes is the only way to fire a house elf. Hagrid's childhood and reason for expulsion from Hogwarts are revealed in Book 2. Hagrid is the enormous man that rescued Harry from his parents' home after Voldemort murdered Harry's parents. He delivered Harry to the Dursleys and then pseudo-rescued Harry by getting him ready for Hogwarts. Hagrid has a penchant for loving monsters. In Book 1, he lends his 3-headed dog, Fluffy, to help defend the Sorcerer's Stone and also hatches a baby dragon. In Book 2, we find that as a child, Hagrid befriended a man-eating gigantic spider named Aragog and raised it from an egg. He was hiding Aragog in the school at the same time Slytherin's heir opened the Chamber of Secrets for the first time. To keep the school open, Tom Riddle accosted Hagrid and placed the blame on him and his spider. Hagrid was expelled and his wand was snapped. Since Hagrid was an orphan and Dumbledore knew Hagrid wasn't a threat, Dumbledore allowed Hagrid to live at the school and become the school's groundskeeper. Hagrid is imprisoned in Azkaban for releasing the monster, and it is up to Harry to prove Hagrid's innocence by following his cryptic message of following the spiders. Each house in the castle has a ghost of its own, and then there is Peeves the poltergeist who exists to make everyone's life miserable. Nearly headless Nick is the ghost of Gryffindor, and he is nearly headless because when they were trying to decapitate him, a bit of sinew stuck so his head flops nearly off. Slytherin'S Ghost is the Bloody Baron and the only ghost that can somewhat control Peeves and his antics. The Grey Lady is the ghost of Ravenclaw, and the Fat Friar is the ghost of Hufflepuff. Throughout the series, nearly headless Nick offers Harry aid and advice through his adventures and trials. In Book 2, Harry tries to return the favor by attending nearly headless Nick's death day party, but it doesn't quite turn out as Nick wanted. Gilderoy Lockhart is a poser. He is hired for the Defense Against the Dark Arts position at Hogwarts because of his fame of being the leading anti-dark arts wizard. He has a set of published books that detail his many adventures rescuing people from dark wizards and creatures. All the methods in the books are tried and true and work perfectly. The only problem is that Gilderoy never accomplished any of those tasks. This becomes evident as the book goes on when all of his spells, charms, and insinuations go horribly wrong. From releasing a batch of angry pixies in his own classroom to dissolving all the bones in Harry's arm rather than mending them, Professor Lockhart causes far more problems than he solves. Eventually, the other teachers and Ron and Harry catch on. When they decide to drag Professor Lockhart to the Chamber of Secrets to find Ginny, Gilderoy Lockhart reveals his sinister side by trying to wipe the boys' memories and claim he found the dead girl, and the boys went crazy with grief. However, he fails when he tries to use Ron's broken wand and ends up erasing his own memories. Tom Riddle is the name that Lord Voldemort was born with. As a teen, he switched the letter in his entire name around to spell out "I am Lord Voldemort." Tom Riddle enchants a diary when he is young as a way to keep part of his soul alive if anything happens to him. Ginny Weasley becomes his victim 50 years later when she finds the diary and begins writing all her hopes and dreams in it. As Ginny writes, Tom's ghost becomes stronger and he is able to possess Ginny and use her to release the Basilisk, that is the monster that lives in the Chamber of Secrets. Tom Riddle gets to confront Harry Potter, the boy who nearly killed him, at the end of the book when Harry and Ron go in search of the Chamber of Secrets. After not receiving any responses from Harry for the entire summer, the Weasley boys steal their dad's bewitched Muggle car and set off to rescue Harry. The twins and Ron rescue Harry and fly him back to their house, which they all call the Burrow. For this first time in his life, Harry has a good summer vacation and feels a part of the family. However, peace is short-lived when Dobby uses his magic to block the gate to get on the Hogwarts Express. Ron and Harry, in a blind panic, come up with the idea to use his dad's car to get to Hogwarts. This plan goes awry when the invisibility button breaks, the car starts nose-diving out of the sky, and they land in the Whomping Willow on school grounds where the car is pummeled and Ron's wand is broken. Ron receives a howler, a piece of mail that has his mother's voice shouting at him for the whole school to hear. The boys try very hard for quite a while to behave themselves. Gilderoy Lockhart comes up with the idea that the students should participate in some wizard dueling. Like most of his plans, it goes awry right from the get-go, but not necessarily because of him. Professor Snape blasts his wand out of his hand and he gives a poor demonstration on how to deflect at an attack. Professor Snape pairs Malfoy and Harry together, and it is then that the entire school learns that Harry is a Parselmouth. When Malfoy creates a giant snake to attack Harry and Lockhart enrages it by blasting it into the air, Harry stops the snake from attacking a boy named Justin. Only he doesn't realize he spoke to the snake using the snake language of Parcel Tongue. The whole school witnessing his speaking to snakes only encourages the idea that he is Slytherin's heir and has released the monster that is terrorizing the students. Aragog is a giant spider, larger than a school bus, who lives in the Forbidden Forest. He and his thousands of offspring are man-eating spiders and have only stayed clear of the staff and students at Hogwarts because of Aragog's affection for Hagrid. When the boys are told to follow the spiders by Hagrid, as he is being led to Azkaban, they follow a lined spider into the forest where they find Aragog and hundreds of other giant spiders ready to eat them. They only narrowly escape because of Ron's dad's bewitched Ford Anglia that has become feral in the forest. The Basilisk is the monster that lives within the Chamber of Secrets. It petrifies its victims if only partially viewed, such as through a reflection, a camera, or through a ghost. Otherwise, its direct gaze is deadly, and it's the reason Moaning Myrtle died. The Basilisk is a giant snake that lives in the caverns of the school and travels through the pipes, which is why Harry keeps hearing a disembodied voice throughout the school year. Ron and Harry take Lockhart in search of Ginny and the Chamber of Secrets. When Lockhart curses himself and causes a cave-in, it is up to Harry to rescue Ginny. He finds her near lifeless next to Tom Riddle's diary. Tom appears in ghost form and calls the Basilisk to attack. With the help of the Sorting Hat, Fawkes the Phoenix, and Gryffindor's sword, Harry narrowly escapes death, slays the Basilisk, and destroys the diary. He saves Ginny and Fawkes carries him, Ron, Ginny, and Lockhart back out of the tunnels. Hagrid is released from Azkaban and Harry frees Dobby by sticking his stinking sock to the diary he gives back to Lucius Malfoy. Hermione and the rest of the petrified students are revived to full health, and another year at Hogwarts ends with Gryffindor taking home the house trophy. Gratification and spending on others should be incorporated as much as possible. After all, it's worth a shot if you can buy yourself more happiness.